Hello everybody and welcome back to Matty Reacts, the channel where we take a look at things we've never watched or listened to before. And I'm very excited because today, you'll know what I'm going to say before I even say it, but we're taking a step back into the Heartstopper universe, which is one of my favourite universes, one of my favourite literary universes that is out there at the moment. Now, we do have a history of covering Heartstopper on the channel. However, I constantly apologise for this, but I only got partway through the last series, editing the reactions. I really struggle with long form editing of TV shows and stuff, but I really wanted to do Heartstopper because it means so much to me. So I do still have the files. I am still going to finish editing the rest of the last season series, whichever country you're from, and get them uploaded. I think I have 2.5 episodes left to do. I think I did 5. I'm partway through 6, and then I've obviously got 7 and 8 to do. So my aim is to get those done over the next month or so, and get them uploaded, because I know that Heartstopper Forever is coming out in July, and I'd like to do one final reaction of Heartstopper goodness for the film. And because it's only a one-off, I feel like it doesn't matter if it takes me a month or 2 to get there. I can just get to it. I think part of the problem of the last series was it was such a big commitment because it was, it was 8 full episodes, and this is one single thing that I can just take as long as I want to get through. And there won't be people going, when's the next part? Because that was the struggle. Is less people these days. I think people have kind of forgotten that I'm reacting to it, but especially like when I'd only just uploaded episodes 3 and 4, people were quite regularly commenting on other videos saying, when's the rest of Heartstopper coming? And I think that added to the pressure. So anyway, I've rambled. We're back. Heartstopper Forever, which is a movie, not a series. And we're going to take a look at the trailer and see what we've got coming. I've read a little bit of the books that this film is based on. A little bit of volume 6, but I stopped myself. I didn't want to get too far because I don't really want it ruining. And although I have read all the books, the show is where I started, so I want to know the ending from the show before I go and finish the webcomic, or the books, or however you want to sort of look at it. But let's take a look.
Everyone thinks teenage relationships don't last.
It's true. I just have to say that technically my relationship is a teenage relationship. We met at 16. We began dating at 17. We are now approaching 20 years together, me and my wife. So teenage relationships can and do last and work. They're looked down on a lot, I think, because people don't expect you to find the one so early. But you should also not be discouraged from trying to find the one early, or being open to finding the one early, I think, personally.
Guess I'm an optimist then.
It's good to be an optimist, Charlie.
This party, you're so cool. It's never been a thing that I could do, but I can't help but imagine what you say when you speak of me.
Nick always thinks about the future.
He does. Undergrad. Oh God,
the stop a mistake that hasn't happened.
The personal statements for UCAS were so difficult and so annoying and so time consuming to write. I wonder if it's still just as bad these days, because obviously, I mean, I've just given you a clue as to how long my wife and I have been together, which means you have a rough idea of my age. It's 37, which means that I applied for uni a long time ago, roughly the same time I met my wife. So it is. I don't know if it's changed or not. Has it? Anybody who's applied recently, or is it still just as annoying as ever? I am.
There in his mind already, trying to stop a mistake that hasn't happened yet.
We all do it. I'm exactly the same.
Never used to think about the future at all.
It's because you were too busy surviving.
It's true. Oh, shots.
You were just flirting with my boyfriend.
Oh, we've got a jealous Nick.
Who even am I? if you don't need me anymore?
I want you to be happy.
I'm only happy when I'm with you.
See, this is what we started looking at in the last series, right? Is this sort of obsession Nick's got with being there for Charlie. And I think it's important, obviously, for any couple to be there for each other through tough times. And Charlie's had his fair share of tough times so far into this series. I'm sure it's not going to be any different in the film. But I think it became very clear that Nick needed to get out of his head with that, and he needed to get into a space where he was happy away from the relationship as well as within it. Now, what I think is happening here, what we can see, is I think he got to a point where he was kind of okay with that. And then obviously it's getting closer to the time when he has to move away to university. And I think that's starting to play tricks on him. And I think he's struggling with this idea that not only will he not be there for Charlie in a sort of couple sense, but he won't be there for Charlie in a physical sense either. They're going to be apart for good chunks of time, you know, and for a couple that have spent so much of the past 2 years together, sort of in universe, to be away from each other is going to be difficult. And I think, you know, I think Nick definitely has some kind of anxiety disorder, right? Some kind of anxiety issues. And I think that it's just playing up those anxiety issues, because he can't control it. Well, he can, because he could just not go to university, but he knows that he has to go to university because that's kind of the next step for him. But it means leaving Charlie not behind, but away from him. So, but yeah, I'm interested to see that this is yet again taking another step into sort of grown-up relationships. And it's interesting to see them progress from this sort of really cutesy 16-year-old couple, or 15 and 16, to this couple that are, you know, presumably by the end of this this film, they will, at least Nick will be 18. I think Charlie would probably still be 17 because he's a school year younger than him, right? So it's really interesting to see them grow in that. And I think Nick potentially not turning to alcohol, because I don't think they'll go that far, but I think using alcohol as a way of coping, maybe, and using parties as a way of coping, and really struggling with this idea that Charlie can be fine without him, even though that's all Nick's actually wanted, is for Charlie to be fine. When Charlie seems to be proving that he's fine, he's really struggling with that. Very interesting.
I don't think that's how it should be.
No, I don't think that's how it should be either.
I need you to be okay without me.
You're a spark in the dark, and my clothes
Oh, look how beautiful this is.
feel how I feel when somebody says your name.
It's not as sad as
Oh,
you think.
nice.
All of us, whether we're together or not, the love that connects us will never break.
And I think that's true for this friend group. I genuinely think, I know it's a fictional friend group, not a real one, but I think the way that Alice has written this group, you can see them as a friend group existing past school and college and university. And it's a you know, a fact of life that a lot of friend groups don't survive that. You know, there's a lot of people I was really close to in school and college that I don't really speak to anymore, and it's a shame. You know, I miss having, you know, all the various different friend groups, because I think it's really important for people to not just have that, like we've just discussed, not have like one person or very few people, but they have a variety of people they can go to for different things. So for me, I was very much a sort of a gig goer in my sort of early 20s, and I used to have like, if I wanted to go to a gig that was like a pop punk band, I knew who I could go to, who might want to come with me. If it was more like a pop act, I knew I had other people I could go to. If it was a bit heavier, I knew I had other people. If it was like a 90s throwback, I knew other people. And these days, there's not very many people that I can call on for like gigs and stuff. And it is a very real fear for people, I think, that friendships fall away as soon as you leave school, college, university. But I also know a lot of people that I went to school with that are still friends, very close friends to this day. So I think it's it's an entirely valid thing to be part of this film. I think this sort of discussion about will we still remain after all this is over, and it's nice that it's Tao, who in the past has been very, very doom and gloom about stuff, is the one to say, look, I think we're going to be friends for a long time. I don't think we're all going to fall apart, which is a direct contrast to where he was, 2 seasons ago, 2 series ago. Really good character progression from Tao. I think Tao has been, in terms of progression of character, one of the best characters on the show.
We built it, and it built us.
Oh, it's a callback. They're running through a hotel.
We look after each other, don't we? Always.
Oh yeah, always. Heartstopper Forever. 17th of July. Is that it? I think that's it. I don't think Netflix ever do sort of post-credit stuff. They don't. Okay, so has this got a runtime? I think I've read a runtime. Not yet been announced. Okay, I'm hoping it's long. Oh no, we do have. What's on Netflix? 1 hour and 51 minutes. That's not long. I feel like that's not a long time to discuss all the things that we've even just the things we've only seen in the trailer. And I'm sure there'll be other things that aren't covered yet. Like I know, well, I don't know, but I presume that we'll cover Tori and her coming to terms with, presumably if we're going by the webcomics, the fact that she's Ace as well. Maybe it'll involve Isaac, I don't know, but obviously Isaac doesn't exist in book world, so I don't know how that's going to change. But presumably that's going to be touched on at least a little bit, because people really wanted it last series and it wasn't. It was delayed, and Alice gave good reasons why they delayed that, but I think it still needs to be brought up, and obviously that's not touched upon in the trailer. So I'm worried that 1 hour and 51 isn't a long time. When you think of it, that's roughly 4 episodes of what the series runtime was. And obviously we're used to having 8 episode seasons, so this film is going to be roughly half of a series, which is, there's still plenty of time to do stuff. But what Heartstopper does well is it can linger. It was able to linger sometimes, and I think if with less than 2 hours, I don't think they're going to be able to linger in this film. So I think it's going to be quite fast paced. I hope it's going to be fast paced to fit everything in anyway. But obviously, I mean, I've rambled so much about this. We're at 13 minutes recording time for a 3-minute trailer. Not even 3, 2 and a bit minute trailer. I stopped it so much and talked so much. I do apologize if you're here just to see the trailer, but please go and check out the actual trailer, which will be linked below. But yeah, I'm so looking forward to this. But also I'm really not, because I've become so obsessed with this universe, with this franchise, with this story, with these characters, that it's going to be sad to see that the main run of them end. Now, I know that Alice has said that they think that Nick and Charlie in some fashion will always be around, but to know that this is the end of the main story on screen, and that then when I read Volume 6, that'll be the end of the story off screen as well. That's big. That's big news. I've always been a massive fan of coming of age sort of stories. I've never really grown up. I really enjoyed my sort of late teenage years into early 20s years, and I kind of always in my head always think of that era as being one of the best times of my life. So these coming of age stories that are set in that time frame, they always bring a lot of emotion out of me. And I've always been interested in gender and sexuality. I took a module on it at university because it's one of the most interesting areas to study and to think about for me. So I've always had this sort of this, I'm always drawn to LGBTQ content, I think, because of that. And because, you know, finally we're at a point where LGBTQ plus media is not the same old tired tropes and stereotypes. That there's nuance in it, and I really have enjoyed how much this series has brought stuff to the forefront. I really have, and it's just such a shame. I don't know if any of you kept up on social media, but when Netflix have announced this trailer and announced the film, the amount of stupid comments that hasn't been there for the earlier series, it just goes to show where we are as a world at the moment. I think where, you know, I don't want to get too political, but there's been a lurch towards the far right, and we all know that the far right ideology doesn't really include space for people in the LGBTQ plus community, which is a massive shame. Such a shame that the world is going that way, and I think that there has to be a day when it gets better, rather than start going backwards again, which seems to be where we're at. But now is not that time, unfortunately. But for me, it is, and for me, this film sums up all the good points about the world, or I hope it will, because this series bloody has. If you haven't watched Heartstopper, and you somehow stumbled across this trailer reaction, having never seen it, please do watch it. It is very sweet, and a very important series for many reasons, not just for LGBTQ plus representation, but also discussion around mental health, friendships, dependencies, on other people, as we've seen in this trailer. It's such an important show, and I really wish it was carried on, but it's not. So I hope this is a fantastic send-off. In terms of predictions, what do I think? I presume Nick goes off to university, and that will probably be the final scene, is the day that he leaves for university, and they are both okay with it. That's my prediction. So yeah, so look forward to, in the coming weeks, episodes 6, 7, and 8 of the last series. At some point coming up, I also recorded a reaction to the outtakes and bloopers from the last series, which is recorded and uploaded and ready to go on my YouTube, but it doesn't feel right releasing that before releasing the episodes. So I will look around about a year younger when that eventually goes up. But yes, thank you very much for dropping by, and I'll see you again for another reaction video very soon. I will be reacting to the film, just in case that wasn't clear. See you soon.